Car keys hit the table. Families walk away from dealerships empty-handed. Showrooms across America stand eerily quiet as prices on window stickers shock potential buyers. This isn't some far-off economic theory, it's happening right now in your hometown. The 25% tariff on imported cars has unleashed a chain reaction throughout the American auto industry that nobody predicted. Factory workers in Michigan check their phones anxiously, wondering if their plant will be next to close. Dealership employees calculate commission losses as sales plummet. Small auto parts businesses that have operated for generations now face impossible choices as their costs spiral out of control. What started as a policy announcement has transformed into economic reality for millions of Americans. The numbers are staggering. Toyota reportedly lost $12 billion, Honda lost $8 billion, and forecasts suggest 2 million fewer cars will be sold in 2025. Behind these figures are real people, real livelihoods, and real consequences that stretch far beyond the automotive sector. Sticker shock paralyzes car buyers nationwide. The average new vehicle price already at record highs now faces additional increases between $3,000 and $12,000 due to tariff policies. For the average American family, this price jump doesn't just mean delaying a purchase, it means complete inability to replace aging vehicles. Financial barriers compound the problem. Interest rates on car loans have climbed to 6 to 7%, creating a perfect storm of affordability challenges. Monthly payments that once seemed manageable now exceed what many households can budget. Dealerships report customers walking away when seeing financing terms, even after hours of shopping and test driving. Foreign automakers made massive investments in American manufacturing before the tariff announcement. Over $10 billion poured into U.S. production facilities, creating jobs and supporting local economies. These same companies now face devastating losses. Toyota's reported $12 billion loss and Honda's $8 billion hit represent more than just corporate balance sheets. They signal potential factory closures and job eliminations. Import vehicles face price increases of 10 to 15% according to industry analysts. This surge affects not just luxury models but everyday family cars, hybrids, and even the emerging affordable electric vehicle market. The price gap between domestic and imported vehicles narrows not because American-made cars became more competitive, but because imported options became artificially expensive. Dealers struggle to explain these sudden price jumps to confused customers. Inventories that once moved quickly now sit for months. Sales targets seem impossible to reach as fewer buyers qualify for financing on these higher-priced vehicles. The ripple effects spread throughout dealership operations, from sales departments to service centers that depend on new vehicle purchases to build their customer base. Auto manufacturing operates as a global ecosystem. Parts cross borders multiple times before a finished vehicle rolls off the assembly line. This interconnected system now faces unprecedented disruption as the tariff policy forces companies to make rapid, costly changes to their operations. Toyota and Honda have moved significant operations from the U.S. to Mexico to navigate around tariff impacts. These shifts represent more than corporate strategy. They're a direct response to policies that make U.S. manufacturing less viable. Plants that once symbolized international investment in American communities now stand at risk of downsizing or closure. Japanese automakers control approximately 35% of the U.S. passenger vehicle market. Their responses to tariffs reshape the entire industry landscape. Toyota increased hybrid and electric vehicle production in Japan, focusing high-value manufacturing away from American shores. Honda shifted production networks to Thailand and Vietnam, creating jobs in these countries rather than the U.S. Nissan accelerated entry into the affordable electric vehicle market, but primarily through non-U.S. production facilities. Global trade relationships face strain beyond just the automotive sector. Retaliatory measures from affected countries target American exports, creating challenges for U.S. farmers, technology companies, and consumer goods manufacturers. What began as a focused automotive policy has expanded into a multi-industry international trade confrontation with escalating stakes. Diplomatic tensions rise as government officials from Japan, South Korea, and European nations express concerns about America's tariff approach. Trade representatives engage in emergency meetings seeking resolutions while publicly questioning the long-term viability of economic partnerships with the United States. The automotive tariff has evolved from an industry-specific policy into a flashpoint for international relations. Expert opinions clash violently about what happens next. Some economists predict temporary disruption followed by market adjustment, while others warn of structural damage to the American automotive ecosystem that could last decades. Both sides present compelling evidence, leaving consumers and workers uncertain about the future. Manufacturing regions receive mixed messages about job security. Company announcements promise commitment to American production while quietly shifting investment dollars to facilities in Mexico, Canada, and overseas. Workers hear reassurances about plant stability while watching orders slow and shifts reduce. The contradiction between public statements and observed reality creates anxiety throughout automotive communities. Sales forecasts present puzzling contradictions. Domestic brands initially celebrated the tariff announcement, expecting increased market share as import prices rose. Yet industry-wide projections show 2 million fewer vehicles sold in 2025, a contraction that will hurt all manufacturers regardless of where their vehicles are produced. The promise of market advantage has transformed into concern about overall market health. Supply chain specialists can't agree on how to respond. Some companies rush to relocate production to tariff-friendly locations, while others bet on policy reversal and maintain existing networks. These contradictory approaches create further market confusion as suppliers receive conflicting demands from different automotive clients following different strategies. Financial markets reflect this uncertainty. Auto industry stocks swing wildly as investors struggle to predict winners and losers in this new landscape. Investment firms issue contradictory guidance. Some recommend buying automotive stocks at discounted prices while others suggest avoiding the sector entirely until policy stability returns. Car shopping transformed overnight into mathematical gymnastics. Customers bring calculators and spreadsheets, trying to decode the new pricing reality. "I needed an economics degree just to figure out if I could afford a Honda Civic," one frustrated shopper commented. Dealership marketing departments scramble to create new slogans. "Buy now before prices go up even more" hardly makes for compelling advertisement. Sales managers joke darkly about offering pre-tariff pricing as if it's a special promotion rather than what cars cost just months ago. Family budget discussions now include advanced international trade policy analysis. Parents explain tariff implications to confuse teenagers who just want their first car. "Sorry, honey, you can't have that Toyota because of complex geopolitical economic strategies" doesn't go over well with a 16-year-old who passed their driving test. Mechanics witness bizarre consumer behavior as people pour money into repairing older vehicles rather than replacing them. "I've got customers spending $5,000 fixing 15-year-old cars because new ones are so expensive," said one repair shop owner. "I'm grateful for the business but worried about their financial decisions." Social media overflows with creative solutions to the car shortage. Rideshare groups form in suburbs. Electric bike sales surge. One viral post suggested bringing back horse-drawn carriages only half-jokingly. The absurdity of modern Americans considering transportation methods from the 1800s highlights how dramatically the market has shifted. Trump's tariff policy fundamentally misunderstands how modern automotive manufacturing works. Cars aren't simply made in one country anymore. They're global products with supply chains spanning continents. A foreign car often contains more American-made parts than a domestic one. This outdated view of manufacturing leads to policies that hurt the very workers they claim to protect. Fox News coverage presents a parallel economic reality. While dealerships empty and factories announce closures, television commentators celebrate economic strength and manufacturing resurgence. This disconnect between media narratives and ground-level experiences leaves affected communities feeling invisible and unheard. Political messaging contradicts economic data. Official statements celebrate bringing jobs back, while industry reports predict 50,000 automotive workers will lose their positions in 2025 alone. Michigan, Ohio, and Tennessee states that form the backbone of Trump's political support face the most severe job losses in manufacturing regions. The administration's understanding of trade appears simplistic compared to the complex reality of global automotive production. Statements suggesting tariffs would simply shift production to American factories ignore the massive infrastructure, supplier networks, and specialized workforce needed for such transitions. Manufacturing can't relocate overnight, regardless of policy pressures. Obama-era automotive policies produced different results according to industry data. The previous administration's approach to the auto industry during the financial crisis led to record profitability, increased production, and expanded employment. The contrast between these outcomes and current industry struggles raises questions about which approach truly supports American automotive strength. Small suppliers face extinction despite having no direct international operations. 80% of automotive suppliers employ fewer than 50 people, making them especially vulnerable to market disruption. These small businesses often family-owned and serving their communities for generations lack the financial reserves to weather prolonged industry turmoil. Parts shortages threaten entire production lines. Modern manufacturing operates on just-in-time principles, meaning assembly lines can shut down if even one component is unavailable. As supply chains reconfigure around tariff policies, these shortages become increasingly common. One missing sensor or connector can halt production of hundreds of vehicles per day. International companies accelerate investment shifts away from America. Before the tariffs, foreign automakers were increasing their U.S. manufacturing footprint. Toyota, Honda, BMW, and others had committed billions to American facilities. These investment plans have reversed, with new factories now planned for Mexico, Canada, and overseas locations that provide tariff-free access to the American market without the policy uncertainty. American exports face retaliatory measures from multiple countries. Japan, South Korea, and European nations have implemented counter-tariffs on American goods, particularly targeting products from states with large automotive manufacturing presence. These measures compound the domestic challenges, creating a multi-front economic struggle for affected regions. Global supply chain realignment creates winners and losers beyond the automotive sector. Mexico benefits from manufacturing shifts, with new facilities breaking ground near the U.S. border. Thailand and Vietnam see increased Japanese automotive investment. Meanwhile, American manufacturing communities that spent decades building specialized automotive workforce and supplier networks watch their economic foundations erode. Mathematical analysis reveals troubling inconsistencies in the tariff implementation. Certain vehicle categories receive exemptions while others face full tariff impact, creating market distortions that benefit specific companies over others. These carve-outs appear more connected to political considerations than economic principles. Job creation claims don't survive scrutiny when examined alongside actual employment data. For every job potentially protected by tariffs, multiple positions face elimination due to reduced sales, parts shortages, and manufacturing relocation. The net employment effect appears strongly negative according to industry analysts and labor economists. Consumer costs escalate far beyond the direct tariff percentage. The 25% tariff doesn't simply add 25% to vehicle prices it creates cascading effects throughout the supply chain that multiply the consumer impact. When combined with higher interest rates, the total cost of vehicle ownership has increased at the fastest rate in decades. Policy flexibility remains absent despite mounting evidence of negative outcomes. Traditional tariff implementations include monitoring mechanisms and adjustment provisions to address unintended consequences. The current approach lacks these safeguards, creating a rigid system unable to respond to market realities. Long-term competitiveness of American automotive manufacturing faces threats from this short-term policy. Global automakers make investment decisions on 5 to 10-year timelines. The uncertainty created by rapidly implemented and potentially changing tariff policies makes the U.S. less attractive for these long-term commitments, potentially creating lasting damage to America's manufacturing capacity. Families postpone vehicle purchases, creating cascading financial effects. Older vehicles require more maintenance, leading to unexpected repair costs. Safety features in newer models remain out of reach for many households, potentially affecting accident rates and severity. The forced retention of aging vehicles creates economic strain beyond just the automotive market. The S&P 500 reportedly dropped over 15% since tariff implementation. This decline affects retirement accounts, pension funds, and investment portfolios across the country. The automotive sector's centrality to the American economy means its disruption ripples through seemingly unrelated industries and financial instruments. Rural communities face particularly severe challenges from automotive market disruption. In many small towns, a single manufacturing facility serves as the economic anchor for the entire community. When these plants reduce shifts or close entirely, the impact extends to local restaurants, retail stores, housing markets, and public services that depend on the tax base. Financial experts openly discuss recession possibilities triggered by automotive sector contraction. Consumer spending on vehicles represents one of the largest discretionary purchase categories in the American economy. As this spending decreases, adjacent industries feel the impact, potentially creating the conditions for broader economic downturn. Transportation access becomes an equity issue as vehicle affordability declines. Lower-income Americans depend on reliable transportation to reach employment opportunities, healthcare facilities, and educational institutions. As the entry-level new car market contracts and used vehicle prices rise in response, this basic need becomes increasingly unattainable for vulnerable populations. Government agencies issue contradictory guidance about tariff implementation. Customs officials, trade representatives, and economic advisors release conflicting statements about which vehicles face tariffs, how rates are calculated, and when policies might change. This regulatory confusion compounds market uncertainty. Legal challenges mount across multiple jurisdictions. Automotive manufacturers, dealer associations, consumer groups, and affected states have filed lawsuits challenging various aspects of the tariff policy. This legal patchwork creates additional uncertainty as different courts reach different conclusions about the policy's legality and implementation. Public understanding lags behind the rapidly evolving situation. Consumers enter dealerships unaware of why prices have increased so dramatically. The complex interaction between tariffs, supply chain disruption, and financing changes exceeds what most Americans have time to research and understand when making purchasing decisions. Election year politics complicate potential policy adjustments. What might otherwise be treated as an economic policy requiring calibration based on market outcomes instead becomes entrenched in partisan positioning. The ability to make necessary changes based on evidence becomes limited by political calculations. Crisis management appears reactive rather than strategic. Each new development, a factory closure announcements, sales decline reports, supplier bankruptcies, triggers a separate response rather than comprehensive policy reconsideration. This piecemeal approach prevents development of coherent solutions to the growing economic challenges. Questions loom larger than answers as this situation continues unfolding. Will the administration adjust policies as job losses mount in key states? Can automotive manufacturers sustain operations with such market uncertainty? How will consumers adapt to this new reality of vehicle pricing and availability? The coming months will reveal whether these tariffs represent temporary disruption or permanent restructuring of the American automotive landscape. Industry experts watch key indicators: monthly sales figures, manufacturing output, supplier stability, and employment data for signals about which direction the situation will take. Your transportation future hangs in the balance. Whether you're a manufacturing worker concerned about job security, a family needing reliable transportation, or an investor watching market impacts, these developments will affect your financial reality in the coming years. Keep following this channel as we track the evolving automotive situation. We'll bring you interviews with affected workers, analysis from economic experts, and updates on policy developments that impact your transportation options and financial well-being. The automotive industry stands at a crossroads, and understanding what happens next will be essential for navigating your personal economic decisions. The ultimate price of these tariffs may be higher than anyone predicted. Euro, not just in dollars, but in American jobs, manufacturing capability, and global economic standing. The final cost remains uncalculated as this economic experiment continues unfolding across showrooms, factories, and communities throughout the nation.